Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you. Hope you all are doing well. The wastes of sick should not contaminate the lives of healthy. Yes, we, the students of MSc Nursing first year of Capital Academy of Nursing Bhubaneswar, are going to discuss about biomedical waste management. Let's introduce my panelists. So they are Mrs. Sasmita Naik from Psychiatric Specialty, and she will define biomedical waste management and also talk about the sources. Then comes to Mrs. Swati Mahanti from OBG Specialty, and she will tell about the classification and of biomedical waste management with its hazards. Then come to Mrs. Satyabhama Mahapatra from Child Health Nursing Specialty, and she will talk about the risk, persons, principles of handling wastes and the handling rules. Then Suchasmita Naik from Community Health Nursing Specialty, and she will elaborate about the methods of disposal with steps of management. Then myself, Pratyusha Naik from OBG Specialty, and I will say about color coding, segregation with nurse's role. Then last but not the least, Mrs. Smruti Smitaratha from Community Health Nursing Specialty, and she will say about the awareness and education of biomedical waste management. And she will conclude the session after summarizing. Thank you all. Now, I will please to welcome Mrs. Sasmita Naik ma'am to share her topic.
Thank you, Pratyusha. So let's start with today's discussion about biomedical waste management. So what is biomedical waste? Biomedical waste is totally different from any other kind of general wastes, radioactive wastes, or any other kind of wastes. Why? Because these wastes are generated from hospitals, laboratories, and contain multiple hazardous chemicals and pathogens which can adversely affect human being and its environment. Now let's see what is the definition of biomedical waste. Biomedical or hospital waste is any kind of waste containing infectious or potentially infectious materials, and it may also include wastes associated with generation of biomedical waste that usually appears to be medical or laboratory origin. Biomedical wastes may be solid or in liquid form, like the anatomical body parts after the amputations, body fluids like blood, mucus, etc. All these things. Next, we will see the sources of biomedical waste, from where the biomedical wastes are generated. Generally, biomedical wastes are generated from hospital and laboratories or any diagnostic centers. So, what are the different sources? The different sources are hospitals, nursing homes, clinics, medical laboratories, blood banks, mortuaries, medical research and training centers, biotechnology institutions, animal houses, and also can be our homes. Why our homes? Because if we are having a patient at home and we are taking care of that patient at home level, the discarded dressing materials, syringes, or any other thing. So these are the different sources of biomedical wastes. Okay. Now next part will be discussed by my friend Swati.
Discussing about the sources of different sources of biomedical waste management. Now I am going to discussing about the classification of biomedical waste. So WHO has classified biomedical waste management into 8 categories. So these are in between the 8 categories. So these are infectious waste, pathological waste, SERPs, pharmaceutical waste, chemical waste, radioactive waste, pressurized containers, and general waste. So these are the 8 categories of waste according to WHO. So let's discuss about infectious waste. Infectious waste suspected to contain pathogens like bacteria, virus, parasites and fungi in sufficient quantity to cause different types of diseases in susceptible host. For example, culture of infectious waste in laboratory work and the waste from surgery and dressings. Then the another waste is pathological waste. It consists of tissues, organs, body parts, fetus, body fluids like blood and any other body secretion. Then next is SERPs waste. We know the SERP waste, that is, these are the items that could cause cut and puncture the skin surface of the user. And that items are needles, scalpel, blade, knives and other broken glasses and also the nails, etc. So these are the SERP wastes. And another is pharmaceutical waste. Pharmaceutical waste, it includes expired and unused and contaminated pharmaceutical products like drugs, expired drugs and vaccines. Then next is chemical waste. It consists of discarded solid, liquid and gaseous waste. Chemical waste may be hazardous or may not be hazardous, but it considered as hazardous if it has at least one of the following properties like toxic, flammable, reactive and genotoxic effects. Okay, so you know genotoxic effects, that is these kind of wastes include certain cytostatic drugs or vomits, urine and feces from the patient who is treated with cytostatic drugs or chemicals and radioactive materials. So cytostatic drugs are also known as chemotherapeutic agent, which can cause death and inhibit the growth and division of cells. Then next is pressurized containers. So many types of gases are used in healthcare center, are often stored in pressurized container and aerosol can. Most common gases used in healthcare includes anesthetic gas, ethylene oxide and also the oxygen. Okay. So then next is radioactive waste. It includes X-rays and other various radioactive substances. They are hazardous to human beings because these are include heavy positive charge, protons and neutrons. Then last one is general waste. General waste is also called as residual wastes. The materials from household and business that cannot be recycled. It includes materials such as non-recyclable plastics, polythenes, some wrappers, and also from kitchen wastes. Okay, so according to WHO, these are the 8 categories of a biomedical waste. Now let's proceed to what are the hazards of a biomedical waste management. That is, improper practice such as dumping of a biomedical waste in municipal dustbin, open spaces, water bodies, etc. lead to spread of various types of infectious diseases. Open burning also leads to expose of harmful gases which can cause various respiratory diseases. So, the various health hazards are occupational health hazards, general public health hazards, hazards to animals and birds, and also hazards to environment. So, what is occupational health hazards? The health hazards due to effect of improper waste management. These are the peoples to be in contact with the institution, with laundry workers, nurses, emergency medical personnel, and refuse handlers or workers. Risk of infection outside the hospital of workers who are handling the waste. Risks associated with hazardous chemicals, drugs being handled by persons at all the levels. Injuries from SARS and exposed to harmful chemical waste and radioactive waste also cause health hazards to employees of a various sector at all the levels. Then next is hazards to general public. The general public health can also be adversely affected by biomedical waste. Improper disposal methods can lead to spread of various infectious diseases. Open burning also lead to exposure of harmful gases which can cause various respiratory problems. Exposure to radioactive waste in the waste stream can also cause serious health hazards. Then next is hazards to animals and birds. Plastic waste can choke animals with scavenge and open dumps. Injuries from SARS are common feature affecting animals. Harmful chemicals like dioxin can cause serious hazards of animals and birds. Then next is hazards to environment. Biomedical waste also has a great impact to environment pollution if the waste are not disposed in proper manner. Due to this action, there are various skin diseases, respiratory problems, and other infectious diseases also occur in human being. So then next proceed to why you can do to avoid hazards. Why? Use only disposable syringes, and after the using it should be break before throw. Bandages, curtains and other blood stains materials should not be thrown with general garbage. Use black plastic bags to dispose biomedical wastes. Keep the trash out of the reach of small children. Diapers and sanitary napkins should be disposed separately in a proper manner. And also most important thing is saps wastes are disposed in a proper manner. Then next is why biomedical waste management is to be regulated. Why? The biomedical waste laws became effective in 1951. These regulations were developed in an attempt to protect the public from environmental hazards. The reasons due to which there is a great need of biomedical waste management, such as injuries from SERPs leading to infection from poor infectious control practices, and also the hospital personnel and waste handlers. Nosocomial infection in patient is due to poor infection control practices and also poor waste management practices. Risks of infection outside of hospital of waste handlers and general public living in the vicinity of a hospital. Risks associated with hazardous chemicals, drugs to persons who are handling waste at all levels. Risks of water, air and soil pollution directly due to the waste. Disposable elements and expired drugs being repackaged and sold off to unsuspecting buyers. Then, to save the lives of animals and birds from various chemicals and sharp materials. That's why the biomedical waste management is to be regulated. Thank you all. And
first, doctors and nurses. They are prone to infection as they come in contact with the patient as well as waste generated from hospital, a clinic or any lab. Secondly, the patient. As patients stay in a hospital or clinic or in any hospital environment, he or she is at a risk for infection. Thirdly, hospital supporting staff. They may be housekeeping staff, they may be canteen staff, they may be sterilization staff, are prone to infection as they come in contact with patient directly or indirectly through linen, utensil, instrument, etc. Fourth, waste collection and disposal staff at a risk, as they are more prone to infection if not do properly collection and disposal according to the protocol of biomedical waste management. Fifth, public. How they come in contact with waste if not properly waste disposed. Patient relatives come to the patient or visiting to the patient to the hospital or clinic or any test. Lastly, the environment. How it happens if waste not properly treated or not proper methods used for disposal of the waste, the environment may become polluted. It may be air pollution, it may be water pollution, it may be soil pollution occur. That means doctors, nurses, patients, hospital supporting staff, waste collection and disposal staff, general public and environment at risk for infection if not properly dispose waste generated from the hospital. Then we are going to discuss regarding the principle of a biomedical waste management. Every work based on certain principle. Biomedical waste management also based on principle as following. First, identification of a point of a generation of a waste. That means find out the sources where it is generated. It may be clinic, it may be laboratory, it may be hospital, it may be any hospital related institute. Secondly, waste minimization and recycling of the waste. That means unnecessary normal things not mixed with infected waste. Choose which will be reusable. For example, glass bottles can be used for keeping thermometer or tittle forceps in the water after cleaning and disinfecting it. Third one, waste segregation at a sources. That means segregation means separation. Separate the types of infectious and non-infectious waste at the point of generation. Fourth one is waste treatment. That means disinfection of waste at the site. That means which type of disinfection required for the type of waste. That is, bleaching solution is required for glove sterilization, whereas glutaldehyde or bleaching required for the sharp instrument disinfection. Next, waste treatment on-site and off-site. That means treat the waste at a generated point and a disposal point also. Next, occupational safety. That means the person, those are involved from generation point to disposal point should take care of himself or herself. That is, use proper self-protective measures for prevent the infection. Next, continuous monitoring of the system. That means organizational staff, state and central team member regarding biomedical waste management should supervise the work of people working in the hospital or any clinic, lab, and give feedback how to do if do any wrong. Next, training of the staff. It is very important that before employed the person, he or she should trained regarding protocol of biomedical waste management and in service training for staff for a refreshment and a reorientation or a remind how to disposal of the biomedical waste. Okay, these are the principles of a biomedical waste management. Next, we are going to discuss about handling rule 1998 of India. Government of India by section 6, 8 and 25 of Environment Protection Act in the year 1986 notified rules to improve the environment by prescribing norms or rules for healthcare waste management under the notification called Biomedical Waste Management and Handling Rules 1998. This rule is prescribed by the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India. This rule was come into force on 28th July in the year 1998. This rule applies to those who generate, collect, receive, store, dispose, treat, or handle biomedical waste in any manner. Any violation of these rules is punishable up to 5 years, rigorously imprisonment, or fine of 1 lakh rupees or both. According to this rule, waste management is divided into 3 schedules. Schedule 1, Schedule 2, Schedule 3. Schedule 1 describes about categories of biomedical waste in India. In Schedule 2, describe about color coding and type of container for disposal of biomedical waste. Schedule 3, label for biomedical waste container and bags. Then we will discuss regarding the Schedule 1, which contains 10 categories on Schedule 1. There are heading of three things. First one is category, first category, second waste type, third treatment and disposal method. First category. In category 1, waste type human anatomical waste, that means tissues, organ or body parts. Treatment and disposal method used are incineration or deep burial. Incineration means burning. In category 2, waste type animal waste, treatment required incineration or deep burial. In category 3, waste type microbiology and biotechnology waste, treatment required autoclave, microwave or incineration. In category 4, category sharp instrument, treatment required disinfection, that means chemical treatment, autoclaving, microwaving and mutilation or shedding. In category 5, discarded medicines and cytotoxic drugs. Treatment required incineration or destruction and drugs disposal in secure landfills. In category 6, waste type are contaminated solid waste. Treatment required incineration or autoclaving or microwaving. In category 7, waste types are solid waste, that means disposable items other than sharps. Treatment required disinfection by chemical treatment, microwaving or autoclaving and mutilation and shedding. In category 8, waste types are liquid waste generated from laboratory, washing, cleaning, housekeeping and disinfecting activities. Treatment required disinfection by chemical treatment and discharge into the drain. In category 9, waste types are incineration ash. Treatment required is disposal in municipal landfill. In category 10, waste types are chemical waste. Treatment required chemical treatment and discharge into drain for a liquid and a secure landfill for a solid. Then we'll discuss about Schedule 2. Schedule 2 describe about the color coding and a type of a container for disposal of a biomedical waste. In color coding, there are 4 colors. First color is yellow color, second one is red color, third blue color, fourth one black color. In yellow color, color coding, yellow color, type of a container, plastic bag, waste category, category 1, 2, 3 and 6, treatment option, incineration or a drip burial. In red, disposable container of plastic bags, category 3, 5 and 7, treatment, autoclaving, microwaving or chemical treatment. In blue color, puncture proof container, category 4 and 7 type waste, treatment, autoclaving, microwaving, chemical treatment and destruction shedding. In last one is black color, plastic bag, category 5, 9 and 10, treatment, disposal in a secure landfill. My friend will discuss in color coding section details about Schedule 2. Then I will discuss about Schedule 3. Schedule 3 describe about label for biomedical waste container bags. First one, biohazard symbol used like below and a cytotoxic symbol. Cytotoxic symbol and a handling with care. Cytotoxic means chemicals which are toxic to cell. This is about Schedule 1, Schedule 2 and Schedule 3. Thank you.
Discussion. Mainly disposal method of biomedical waste. It has three types. One is collection and segregation. Second is transportation and storage, and third is disposal technique. Then first we discuss collection and segregation. Collection means what? Hospital waste should be collected at the site of generation only, and segregation means or aims to keep the harmful substance and infected material separate from harmless and disinfected material or waste. For this purpose, use of specially colored dustbin and plastic bag is mandatory. Then let's go through the procedure and facts should be kept in mind during the collection and segregation of waste material. Then first point is bins and bags should wear the symbol of biomedical hazard. Then second is never mix infectious waste with non-infectious waste. Needles should be destroyed with a needle cutter. Never manual mutilation of serves should be never tried. It may cause injury. Then go through the next point. All serves should be kept in puncture-proof box and properly labeled. Then go through the next point. Disposable items. Those are plastics. Those are syringe, IV bottles, catheters, rubber gloves, etc. Should be undertaken only when they have been mutilated and chemically disinfected with dipping in 1% hypochlorite solution for 30 minutes. Waste should not split outside. Non-infectious waste, those can be household waste, and those can be dealt with as normal household waste and does not require any special treatment. Then go through the second point, that is transportation and storage of biomedical waste. So ideally, as soon as a bag is full, it should be tied and it should be labeled and sent to the site of final storage of disposal in once or twice a day. So let's discuss the important points in the transportation and storage of waste. First point, before taking the bag away, ensure that it is properly tied and labeled and there is no possibility to spillage. Everyone got the point that the waste should be packed with a plastic or bag. It should be properly tied, properly labeled and properly symbolized. Then after we can safely to shift to the waste material site. Then second point is those persons are handling the waste material, they should not be touch the normal people's item at the side or any other. After you can clear the waste and we can shift the waste material to the storage area, properly cleaned and properly washed, then we can use the normal people's area. Then go through the next point, a covered biohazard symbolized handcart should be used to transport the waste to the side of the storage area of the hospital. The handcart always should be covered properly. The waste cannot be spillage or waste always covered properly, that it can be cannot be contact with the normal people items. Always be conscious that thing. Then go through the next point. Don't throw the bags haphazardly. Always the waste should be smoothly take it in proper way, and it should be properly handled, that the waste can be spilled, and also waste can be thrown outside, then it can be create infection. So always conscious that the smoothly who has undertaken only when they have been mutilated and chemically disinfected with dipping in 1% hypochlorite solution for 30 minutes. Waste should not split outside. Non-infectious waste, those can be household waste, and those can be dealt with as normal household waste and does not require any special treatment. Then go through the second point, that is transportation and storage of biomedical waste. So ideally, as soon as a bag is full, it should be tied and it should be labeled and sent to the site of final storage of disposal in once or twice a day. So let's discuss the important points in the transportation and storage of waste. First point, before taking the bag away, ensure that it is properly tied and labeled and there is no possibility to spillage. Everyone got the point that the waste should be packed with a plastic or bag. It should be properly tied, properly labeled and properly symbolized. Then after we can safely to shift to the waste material site. Then second point is those persons are handling the waste material, they should not be touch the normal people's item at the side or any other. After you can clear the waste and we can shift the waste material to the storage area, properly cleaned and properly washed, then we can use the normal people's area. Then go through the next point, a covered biohazard symbolized handcart should be used to transport the waste to the side of the storage area of the hospital. The handcart always should be covered properly. The waste cannot be spillage or waste always covered properly, that it can be cannot be contact with the normal people items. Always be conscious that way. Then go through the next point, don't throw the bags haphazardly. Always the waste should be smoothly take it in proper way and it should be properly handled, that the waste can be spilled and also waste can be thrown outside, then it can be create infection. So always conscious that the smoothly who has
Now I will come to my point, that is segregation of waste material with color coding. So there are so many color coding containers which are holding of waste materials. Number one is yellow color container. Yellow color container contains post-operative body parts, placenta, plaster of Paris, pathological waste, cotton waste, dressing materials, bedding, body fluid, contaminated paper, face mask, cap and discarded medicines. Number two is red color. Red color contains syringe, needles, then IV sets, catheter, globes, urine bags, dialysis kit, and IV bottles. Number three is white color. That is, white color containers contain needles, blades, and scalpels. Number fourth is black or blue color containers, which are meant for broken glass, ampoules, lap slides, and particularly metals. Metals in the means of scissors, nails, and metallic body implants. Okay. So after color coding and segregation of waste, we are come over to the role of nurse, which is very important. So, first of all, the role of nurse should be, a nurse should use PPE. What is PPE? That is personal protective equipment. What is PPE? That is personal protective equipment. So, while handling waste materials, a nurse should be use PPE kit. A PPE kit contains head cap, safety goggles, surgical mask, gloves, fully body cover, then shoe cover, waste bag, then sanitizer pouch bag, etc. Second one is regular visit to all wards and high risk units. So a nurse must be a regular visit to high risk area. Third one is she has to ensure the samples are collected and disposed safely. Number fourth one is she have to monitor and supervising the staff whether they are doing safe disposal of waste color coded or not. Okay, it's her duty to monitor and supervise all her staffs. Then prevention of hospital acquired infection by avoid needle stick injuries. Then collect waste when the bin is 3/4 full. When the bin is 3/4 full, then only collect the waste, and avoid using common lift while moving the waste. While we move the waste materials, don't use common lift because it can spread infections to all the person who are touch of hospitals. Then clean splits with disinfectants. Okay, everywhere you have to clean with disinfectant solutions. Okay, this is all about the role of nurse. Thank you.
About the infection control, and that in reinforcing time to time will help to improve the infection control practices. An infection control nurse and the ward in charge should utilize the teaching program in the ward because it enhances the knowledge regarding the infection control and related knowledge and related to the biomedical waste management practices among the staff members. In charge should confirm that written agreed policy should be there in the ward for the biomedical waste management for the practices. Proper orientation to the policy and the protocol should be given to all the staffs at the time of induction. The nurse in charge should confirm the policy is displayed in the ward at the appropriate place. The nurse administrator should confirm that the physical facilities related to the VMW is available in all shifts. For the better knowledge, arrange the workshop and also the seminars, and also show the practical demonstration day by day to the healthcare personnel. Okay, let's conclude the topic. So the proper disposal is not possible without the public education, and also the participation is required for the public. The government and also the municipality pay attention towards the disposal of the biomedical waste management, and further the educating and motivating first yourself, then your community, and to the other members of the society.
by disposing the waste from your home, then from your state, then from your community. At last, summarize the topic. We discuss about the definition of biomedical waste management, then the proper disposal of waste management, then what are the health hazards regarding the biomedical waste management, and what would be the color coding for the biomedical waste management, and what should be the education and awareness regarding the biomedical waste management. Thank you.
Yes, Suchismita again. With this, our discussion about biomedical waste management ends. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Shraddha ma'am and Lija ma'am, for your guidance. And lastly, thanks to my friends who put their efforts to make this virtual discussion fruitful. Thank you.